In the early 60s, in the Spanish countryside, a group of people perform an occult ritual. During the ceremony, something goes wrong, the ritual is left incomplete, and as a result, 6 small children disappear. Nothing about the incident becomes known to the general public, and the events remain in the past. 40 years pass. An American family moves to Spain. Mark Rua, his wife Maria, their teenage daughter Regina, and youngest son Paul settle in a large country house near Barcelona. They move to be closer to Mark's father Albert, who lives in the city and works as a doctor. The family settles into the house, but almost immediately encounter technical problems in the building with regular power failures and blackouts. Mark begins to rapidly progress genetic disease, Huntington's disease. He has seizures, coordination deteriorates, and his mental state becomes unstable. Tension builds in the house. Regina is concerned about her father's health. Maria, on the contrary, does not want to recognize the seriousness of what is happening. Paul becomes afraid of the dark. In his room and other parts of the house, he encounters unexplained phenomena. Strange sounds, movements, sudden blackouts. He notices ghostly figures of children. At this time, Regina also feels someone's presence. 6 ghost children are following her. She also notices an unknown man watching the house from the road. While renovating the basement, Mark finds an old photograph of 3 women wearing black glasses. The photo is disturbing, but so far, there is no way to figure out its meaning. Mark's psyche continues to deteriorate. He becomes irritable, his behavior increasingly unpredictable. Regina begins her own investigation. She meets Carlos, a local guy who works as a swimming teacher. They start dating. Together, they research the history of the house. Regina learns that the building was built by an architect named Villalobos. She soon realizes that this architect is the same man she saw by the roadside. They find out that the house was not created as an ordinary dwelling, but as a tool for an occult ritual. The meaning of the ritual was the sacrifice of 7 children, each of them to be killed by someone who loves them. The ritual should take place in accordance with a rare solar eclipse that occurs once every 40 years. Turns out that 40 years ago the ritual was not completed, as only 6 children were killed then. The next eclipse occurs just the other day. Regina assumes that the final victim must be her younger brother Paul. Regina and Carlos go to Albert's house to tell him of their findings. However, it soon becomes clear that Albert is himself a member of the cult. He reveals the truth that the ritual involved not 6 but 8 children. The 8th child was Mark himself. Then Albert was supposed to sacrifice his own son, but was unable to do so because he felt no love for him. Because of this, the ritual was disrupted. Now, 40 years later, Albert is determined to complete the ceremony. He has lured Mark and his family to this house to complete the ritual during the coming eclipse. Albert is convinced that Mark can now be sacrificed because he is truly loved by Regina. In this way, he expects to open a portal to the netherworld. Regina learns that the target is not Paul as she thought, but her father Mark. She escapes from Albert and returns home. During this time, Mark has another seizure. He swallows pills and suffocates. Maria tries to help him by attempting a tracheotomy, but hesitates to follow through. Regina takes the initiative and completes the procedure, but at the critical moment the air tube disappears and is removed by supernatural forces. Mark dies of asphyxiation, bleeding to death. The ritual is completed. Mark was sacrificed by the hands of his daughter, who loved him sincerely. After the ritual is completed, the darkness of something that takes the form of loved ones begins to manifest in the house. It takes the form of Regina and Paul and persuades Mary to turn off the lights. When she does, the darkness kills her. Then it takes the form of Carlos and comes in a car to pick up Regina and Paul. They get into the car and drive away. A few minutes later, the Real Carlos arrives at the house. He finds it empty. He hears Regina's voice calling him inside. The voice belongs to the darkness. Meanwhile, Carlos' doppelganger drives the children and then drives them into a dark tunnel.